Good morning. We're going to be reading another chapter of Black Beauty today, chapter 32. This is the beginning of a new Black Beauty section, part 3. So do you remember what happened with Mr. Barry, Black Beauty's last owner, in our last section? So he had 2 groomsmen who deceived him, and he said that he was no longer going to have horses because he didn't trust that the same thing wouldn't happen again. So we're going to see Black Beauty sold off to a new owner at a horse fair. So this is basically an opportunity for people to just buy and sell who maybe don't know Mr. Barry, but Mr. Barry is able to just sell at this fair for people to bid on him. So let's begin reading chapter 32 if you have your books to follow along with. If it's the same as mine, it starts on page 163. Now, no doubt, a horse fair is a very amusing place to those who have nothing to lose. At any rate, there is plenty to see. Long strings of young horses out of the country, fresh from the marshes, and droves of shaggy little Welsh ponies no higher than Merrylegs, and hundreds of cart horses of all sorts, some of them with their long tails braided up and tied with scarlet cord. And a good many were like myself, handsome and high-bred, but fallen into the middle class, through some accident or blemish, unsoundness of wind, or some other complaint. So remember that Black Beauty, because of the fall with Reuben Smith, has bad knees. And he can work just fine, but it looks bad. And so that's why he's not worth as much, and he can't, or he's not wanted at a place that's really wealthy and a big fancy barn with lots of different horses. So there were some splendid animals quite in their prime and fit for anything. They were throwing out their legs and showing off their paces in high style as they were trotted out with a leading rein, the groom running by the side. But round in the background, there were a number of poor things sadly broken down with hard work, with their knees knuckling over and their hind legs swinging out at every step. And there were some very dejected-looking old horses, with the underlip hanging down and the ears lying back heavily, as if there were no more pleasure in life and no more hope. There were some so thin you might see all their ribs, and some with old sores on their backs and hips. These were sad sights for a horse to look upon, who knows not but what he may come to the same state. So Black Beauty, his knees are in bad shape, but overall he looks pretty good, but he's seeing what might happen to him if he doesn't have the right owner from this horse fair. There was a great deal of bargaining, of running up and beating down. Bargaining means, for example, if you go to a store, there is a set price and you have to pay whatever that price is that the store is asking you to pay for an item. But certain places you can bargain, and you might have an item that says it's $15, but you could say, I'll give you $8. And if the seller thinks that that's the best offer he's going to get, then he's going to give it to you for $8. So it's back and forth dealing. Maybe the person's going to say, well, I won't take $8, but I'll take $10. So it keeps going back and forth with bargaining. And if a horse may speak his mind so far as he understands, I should say there were more lies told and more trickery at that horse fair than a clever man could give an account of. I was put with 2 or 3 other strong, useful-looking horses, and a good many people came to look at us. The gentlemen always turned from me when they saw my broken knees, though the man who had me swore it was only a slip in the stall. There's an example of the lying and deception that's happening. Now, Black Beauty did not just slip in the stall, even though he can still work hard even with those bad knees. The first thing was to pull my mouth open, then to look at my eyes, then feel all the way down my legs and give me a hard feel of the skin and flesh, and then try my paces, meaning how he is to walk. So they look at his mouth to see his condition. There's actually a common idiom or phrase that comes from this, or not from this book specifically, but this idea that says, don't look a gift horse in the mouth. Meaning, to look at a horse's mouth is to be able to see how valuable they are. But if someone gives you a gift, then you shouldn't analyze it and think, oh, this is a good gift or a bad gift. You should just be grateful for a gift. But that's one of the things that they do as they're looking for a horse. Now, it was wonderful what a difference there was in the way these things were done. Some people who were looking over him did it in a rough and offhand way. They might be kind of wrenching his mouth open or feeling him about to see if there's any problems with him, as if one was only a piece of wood. Now, over and over again, we've seen how there are some people who act like an animal is really no different than a piece of machinery, like a train, or in this case, saying it's basically like feeling over a piece of wood. But animals can feel pain. And so Black Beauty is saying there are some people who handle him roughly, but some who can be gentle. And that is obviously much better for the horse. While others would take their hands gently over one's body with a pat now and then, as much as to say, by your leave. Of course, I judged a good deal of the buyers by their manners to myself. So if they're patting him gently, that means they're probably going to be a better owner, and he wants to have them be the one to purchase him. There was one man, I thought, if he would buy me, I should be so happy. He was not a gentleman, nor yet one of the loud, flashy sort that called themselves so. He was rather a small man, but well made and quick in all his motions. I knew in a moment by the way he handled me that he was used to horses. He spoke gently, and his gray eye had a kindly, cheery look in it. It may seem strange to say, but it is true all the same, that the clean, fresh smell there was about him made me take to him. No smell of old beer and tobacco, which I hated, but a fresh smell as if he had just come out of a hayloft. He offered 23 pounds for me. But that was refused, and he walked away. I looked after him, but he was gone, and a very hard-looking, loud-voiced man came. I was dreadfully afraid that he would have me, but he walked off. Good. Now, one or two more came who did not mean business. So they're looking at these horses, but they don't really intend to buy one. Then the hard-faced man came back again and offered 23 pounds. Same price as the kind person before. A very close bargain was being driven, so maybe the owner of the horse, or it's probably not Mr. Berry, but Mr. Berry sold Black Beauty to someone who's trading now, saying, well, not 23, but 25 pounds, and then the other person is still asking for 23. For my salesman began to think he should not get all that he asked, and that he must actually come down in price. But just then, the gray-eyed man, who is the nice person, he came back again. I could not help reaching out my head toward him. He stroked my face kindly. Well, old chap, he said, I think we should suit each other. I'll give 24 for him. Oh, so now he's pricing it higher than the hard-faced or the mean man who's also trying to purchase Black Beauty. Say 25 and you shall have him, says the salesperson. 24.10, said my friend, the nice person, in a very decided tone. And not another 6 pence. Yes or no? Done, said the salesman, and you may depend upon it, there's a monstrous deal of quality in that horse still. And if you want him for cab work, he is a bargain. The money was paid on the spot, and my new master took my halter and led me out of the fair to an inn, where he had a saddle and bridle already. He gave me a good feed of oats and stood by while I ate it, talking to himself and then talking to me. Half an hour after we were on our way to London, through pleasant lanes and country roads, until we came into the great London thoroughfare, on which we traveled steadily, till in the twilight we reached the great city. The gas lamps were already lighted. There were streets to the right and streets to the left, and streets crossing each other for mile upon mile. I thought we should never come to the end of them. At last, in passing through one, we came to a long cab stand, when my rider called out in a cheery voice, "Good night, Governor." "Halloo," cried a voice. "Have you got a good one?" Asking about the horse. "I think so," replied my owner. "I wish you luck with him." "Thank you, Governor." And he rode on. We soon turned up one of the side streets, and about halfway up that, we turned into a very narrow street, with rather poor-looking houses on one side and what seemed to be coach houses and stables on the other. My owner pulled up at one of the houses and whistled. The door flew open, and a young woman, followed by a little girl and boy, ran out. This is the new owner's family. There was a very lively greeting as my rider dismounted, meaning got off Black Beauty. Now then, Harry, my boy, open the gates and Mother will bring us the lantern. The next minute, they were all standing around me in a small stable yard. Is he gentle, Father? Says the little girl. Yes, Dolly, as gentle as your own kitten. Come and pat him. At once the little hand was patting about all over my shoulder without fear. How good it felt. Black Beauty loves to have people who pet him and are really kind and gentle to him. Let me get him a bran mash while you rub him down, said the mother. Oh, do, Polly, it's just what he wants, and I know you've got a beautiful mash ready for him. Or ready for me, meaning also the owner has some food ready. Sausage dumplings and apple turnover, shouted the boy, which set them all laughing. I was led into a comfortable, clean-smelling stall with plenty of dry straw, and after a capital supper, I lay down thinking I was going to be happy. So, what do you think of Black Beauty's new owner so far? We'll find out in the next chapter. His name is Jerry, and he is, from what we can see already here, and as we'll see more later on, a very, very kind person. You can already tell from the way that he treats his family members that he is very kind and respectful, and he seems like he's going to be very gentle with Black Beauty. So we'll see more about that in tomorrow's reading. Hope you all enjoy the rest of your day. There's some questions to answer in Bright Thinker with this as well. And I will see you later. Bye.